The first thing I learned as an adult was how to keep my mouth shut. It happened the day I turned 17. Though I didn't know, then that birthdays were supposed to be symbolic. I was standing in the back office of Alade SE Electronics, pretending to reorganize old receipts while Mr. Alade argued with a customer out front. The door between us was thin. I heard everything. The man accused him of selling a refurbished phone as new. Mr. Alade laughed. Warm and friendly, the way he always did when someone was about to lose. My brother, he said, why would I cheat you? I knew the answer. I had helped swap the box myself. A week earlier, Mr. Alade had called me in after closing. He didn't sit behind the desk. He stood too close, hand resting on my shoulder like we were family. You want to work here long term, Abby? Psyched. I nodded. I needed the job. My mother had stopped pretending she could cover school fees alone. My father had stopped pretending altogether. Mr. Alade opened a carton and lifted two identical phones. One was new. One wasn't. He didn't explain the difference. He didn't need to. You will learn many things here, he said. First lesson, customers don't want truth. They want confidence. When I hesitated, he smiled. Everybody eats, he added, as if that settled something deep and moral. So in the back office, as the customer's voice rose, I stayed silent. I lined up receipts by date. I became invisible. The man eventually left, shaking his head. Defeated, Mr. Alade came back, eyes bright. Good, he said, noticing my quiet. You're learning. That evening, I walked home feeling taller. I had crossed something and survived. The streetlights looked different, less like guardians, more like witnesses. At school, they taught us integrity. At work, they taught us usefulness. Only one of those paid. The second betrayal was easier. It involved my friend Cunnell, who had been my friend since we were boys trading bottle caps for imaginary fortunes. Cunnell was brilliant in the careless way that makes teachers tired. He trusted systems. He believed that if you followed rules long enough, something good would eventually happen. We both applied for the same scholarship in our final year. It was meant for one student per school. Cunnell had the grades. I had the story. The counselor called me in and asked about my home. I told her the truth, then watched her face soften. When she asked about Cunnell, I shrugged. He'll be fine, I said. His parents are okay. They weren't rich. They were just present. When the results came out, Cunnell laughed at first. Maybe mistake, he said. Then he stopped laughing. Then he stopped calling. I told myself I hadn't lied. I had simply not corrected an assumption. That was adulthood. I decided knowing when accuracy was a luxury. With the scholarship money, I bought my mother a new stove. She cried and said I was becoming a man. I let her believe that meant something clean. By 19, I understood the pattern. Every step forward required a small erasure. A silence. A redirection. A willingness to let someone else absorb the consequence. At the universe. I joined a student association that promised leadership and connections. During elections, I was asked to spread a rumor about another candidate. Nothing criminal, just enough doubt. She's unstable, they said. People should know. I didn't know if it was true. I didn't ask. After we won, I was congratulated for my strategic mind. I learned a new word, pragmatism. It sounded better than betrayal. It sounded like adulthood wearing a suit. Sometimes, late at night, I thought about the boy. I had been the one who believed good and bad were opposites, not neighbors. I tried to remember what line I had crossed first, but the ground behind me had blurred. The last betrayal didn't feel like a choice at all. It was my father. He came to me one afternoon, thinner than I remembered, asking if I could help him get a job where I interned. He had made mistakes. Yes, but hadn't everyone? He spoke carefully, like someone negotiating with a stranger. I knew the company wasn't hiring. I also knew I could recommend him anyway. Or I could not. My supervisor had once warned me, quietly, family can make you look unserious. When my father finished speaking, I told him I would ask. I didn't. Weeks passed. He stopped calling. Something between us closed, neatly, like a file. I got a return offer. My supervisor shook my hand. "You're focused," he said. "You understand priorities." That night, I stood alone in my room, surrounded by evidence of progress, certificates, clean clothes, a future that finally felt solid. I tried to feel proud. Instead, I felt competent. That was the real loss of innocence, not realizing the world was flawed, but realizing I could function inside it by becoming smaller, quieter, more selective with my care. I am not cruel. I am not exceptional. I did not wake up wanting to betray anyone. I simply learned, step by step, what could be traded for stability. This is what growing up looked like for me, a series of reasonable decisions that, added together, form something I cannot defend only explain. And that, I think, is what adulthood asked of me. Goodness. Just compliance. What do you think?